Games that turn into movies.
Movies that turn into games.
We've seen them.
We've played them.
Now we gotta talk about them.
Let's get those cogs turning. Gaming news of the week.
New PlayStation 5 controller revealed. Derp, did you see the PlayStation 5 controller?
I did. And
what'd you think about it?
I am probably going to get chastised by many.
Uh-oh.
But I like it.
But? What?
I love it.
Why would you get chastised for liking it?
Because it's a gaming community, and you know how the online community is so split 50-50 that the other side will just hate on the other side for liking what they like.
Okay, so what you're saying is if you disliked it, they're going to chastise you, and if you liked it, they're going to chastise you. You're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't.
Yes. I'm glad that we're on the same page.
Of the same book.
Of the same party?
In the same place.
Okay, I'm not going this far.
At the same time.
But seriously.
Yeah, seriously though, you do like it though?
Yeah, no, I do like the design, and it looks like with how they have it set, as long as the feel sense that they have on it isn't like broken if you put new stickers on it and such, because I don't know if that will have any effect or if it's a base of pressure that you're applying to it. I don't know. It would be interesting to see, but if you could like make stickers, they could make a lot of really neat designs with those controllers.
I think it looks like Iron Man.
It could look like Iron Man, and they've done one with Mario now too. I mean, that was one of the first ones. They showed a Mario setup of it.
The gaming community took this controller and ran with it. The amount of designs that they came up for this controller was amazing. Whoever turned that into a Mario controller, I don't know, I smiled big time. It was
genius. It was definitely genius.
It was.
I could see this being as a cool thing, though. Like, if they, depending on how the touch thing works, think about when you're playing a horror game, you naturally tend to grip your controller harder when you're in a panic or you're afraid, so you'll grip your controller harder. It's not so much a sense of maybe your palms are sweating, that kind of thing. You know, knees weak, arms are heavy. Anyways, so if you grip your controller tighter and you have a game where they actually utilize it and they start throwing more stuff at you as the harder you grip.
You know, that would be interesting because the features they list on this thing, adaptive shoulder button triggers with haptic feedback.
So in other words, the buttons are going to vibrate when you press them.
Yes.
So when you fire a gun playing COD or something, it will vibrate.
I find that very fascinating. It sounds cool. Like they're putting a lot of technology in the controller. The controller is more than a controller, is what it seems like. Like the Nintendo with the Joy-Cons, their rumble feature for precision
is really good.
It's really good. It's surprisingly good. When they started describing what you can feel for it, you're like, okay, that sounds kind of cool. But in practice, actually using it, you're like, whoa, this thing is, it's responsive. It's very responsive.
And the way it spins at different vibrant, like it's for certain things in games, like if you swing a light attack and it does the vibrations for it, it will be lighter than if you did a heavy, and it just feels like you're doing exactly what it feels like.
Exactly.
I if that's a weird way to say it, I mean,
it makes sense to me.
Yeah.
But check this out. A built-in microphone into the controller so you can talk to friends without having to wear a headset. What do you think of that?
Good. As long as the microphone doesn't sound like...
Well, they even described in the PlayStation blog when they were describing this controller, it's like, hey, you want to pop in for a quick conversation to say a few things? Great. But if you want something for the long haul, a headset is probably a better choice. But to give people this option is kind of cool.
Yeah. No, I'm all for it. Because just not thinking, you will naturally grab a controller tighter if you're panicking or you're getting scared. Like the second you get that jump scare, you're instantly gonna, flinch and grab something harder.
Yeah. And
then they could just use that, like it could trigger something in the game when you do that to make the, maybe it's something's hunting you. So when if it's hunting you and you happen to grip your controller when it screams or you think it found you, and then doing so would trigger something to happen in the game to make it find you because you jumped.
There's only one game out right now for the PlayStation 4 that utilizes those features with the PlayStation camera. Do you know which one I'm talking about?
Isolation.
Alien Isolation. When you play it with the camera and you make noise.
And the
any
microphone.
type of noise. And the microphone. The microphone, it picks up on your reactions and your voice. And if you're being hunted by the alien and you make a noise, he'll hear it. And he'll react to it. And that's fucking scary and brilliant at the same time. It sounds like they're trying to incorporate something along those lines with this controller.
And I wouldn't be surprised if that's where they got the main idea. I mean, I'm sure there's many other things that have probably utilized this in the past overall. But Alien Isolation is the first one to implement it that I can bring to memory in that kind of form.
That's the only thing I can think of too. But I tried it and it's fucking scary.
Yeah, but you scare very easily. Point to Visage. Though, I gotta admit, Visage is a friggin' scary game.
I still haven't finished the first episode because it's so fucking scary.
I thought you finished the first episode. It was this...
Nope. I even streamed it too, and finally I kept dying where I'm like, I'm done.
You're at Stabby McStabberson, right?
Yeah. I remember going through, like, the visions, and I went to the kids' tree house, and then after I came back, I started getting hunted again, and I didn't know when the episode was going to end.
Yeah, dude, you're right near the end of that chapter, by the way.
So what you're saying is I need to replay it because episode 2's out too.
I think episode 3 and 4 too.
Really?
I think the game's near release, honestly.
Yeah, that was the other reason why I haven't picked it back up. I was also waiting for the full release. But that game is scary.
I think they were aiming for summer or something like that. But anyways, back to the controller.
Did you know the create button, it says it's supposed to replace the PS4 share button, but they didn't go into details on what create means. I would imagine it's the same thing where you can take screenshots and videos, but it looks like they're going to add a new feature to go along with that.
You might be able to edit and cut the video on the spot rather than just share a distinct amount of time.
Yeah, because on the PlayStation 4, they have a separate section for you to go to your video footage, trim what you want, and turn it into a clip.
Yeah. And that might be just all utilized into one place. But again, we don't know anything yet. So
you're right. We absolutely don't know. But it is exciting. But I think it's interesting. The light bar is disappearing, but if the light is moving to the top of the controller surrounding the touchpad area, it's supposed to give the LED a larger look and feel, according to the company. They could have some fun with it. In the original PlayStation 4 controller, the light bar's on the front, and you can't really see it, so you have to turn your controller to look at it, unless you play it in the dark. The only time that the light bar ever stood out to me was when I played Grand Theft Auto 5. When I was being chased by the police, and I was playing this game with the lights off, the light started changing blue to red, and I was like, what the hell's going on? My room is flashing, and I realized it's from my controller. It was genius, but then they came out with a controller that had you can see the light bar through the touchpad, the updated controllers. I like those better, and I think that's what gave them the idea to do the full touchpad edges for this PlayStation 5 controller.
And I can definitely see that. Like, I do wish that the lights were more visible on it. Like, even if they kept the light bar in the front and then they just added a secondary light that changed with it on the top or on the touchpad, that would have been fine too. But you can't really see the colors unless you're in the dark.
True. Absolutely. The controller overall, it looks fun. They added a new name for it since PlayStation 1. It was called the DualShock controller when they implemented the rumble features for the very first time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And yeah, it's when they added analog sticks and rumble features to PlayStation. It was called the DualShock.
Yes, it was the analog sticks. Yeah.
And then it was the DualShock 2, 3, and 4. PlayStation 4 is a DualShock 4.
Yeah.
PlayStation 5 has a new name.
And what was that?
It's the DualSense.
Oh, the DualSense. And then it's got that, of course, we already talked about, the two-tone. Like, it's got the cool color scheme, and you can change that around.
I think the name's pretty unique for what it's describing it wants to do for games, but I won't really know how I feel about it until I use it in practice.
The DualSense, I think, is just basing on the fact of the finger touch.
Yeah.
And then the haptic feedback.
Yeah.
Two different senses.
But, you know what's also cool about them showing what the PlayStation controller looks like?
Mm-hmm.
It's our first glimpse on the possibilities of what the PlayStation 5 console might look like.
Yeah, they tend to keep a similar look when it comes to the controllers to the console, but I can't say the same thing about... I can't say the same thing about the PS4 though. Like PS3, yeah, it was like blocky, a big block. PS4 was still kind of a block, but it was smaller. But the controllers were rounder, and I don't know.
Look at this thing. Look at
The
this thing.
PS3 was round and a big brick.
And this is the slim model. It used to be way, way fatter.
And yeah, for you, those of you, since you can't see, he's lifting up his PS3 and showing it to me.
I wanted to show it to Derp as a reference on just how round and
Yeah.
bulgy this thing is. The PlayStation 4 is very slick, symmetrical, and angular.
So what, you think this thing is going to be in between?
No, if it's going to look anything like the controller, I think it's also going to look like a mech. Some sort of iron mech. With different color schemes and lights.
I mean,
it's gonna look like a drone. It's gonna look like a PlayStation drone.
The Xbox Series X looks like an Alexa on steroids.
My first reaction to that was somebody put 2 GameCubes on top of each other and spray painted it black.
You know what the funny one was? Like, people were doing memes of Xbox Series X and photoshopping them into actual scenes, and they had one as a fridge on one. It's just in a house, and they have it perfectly set in, and the lighting's perfect on it. It looks like a fridge.
That's awesome. Okay, I gotta hand it to Sony, though. Xbox came in with a bang. They kicked the door down and said, hey, here's our console. And we're like, wow, that's kind of cool. And they're like, hey, here's some gameplay footage. Here's what you can expect. And we're like, oh, wow, that's kind of cool. PlayStation was like, here's a controller. We'll show you when we're ready. And we're like, oh, cool controller. Hey, let's design Mario on it.
And everyone's like talking up the Xbox Series X because of its specs, and essentially, yes, the Xbox Series X specs are marginally, like, very minimally better. But that's not where the games come from.
Let me give you an example, Derp. Let me give you an example. The powerhouse of the Xbox 360. The powerhouse of the PlayStation 3. And here's the Nintendo Wii. Outsold all of them immediately. And nothing high definition like the PS3 or the Xbox 360. It's about the games, people. It's about the games.
Yep. And PS4 knew that. They fixed that. PS3 had some good solos, though.
They did.
But PS4...
But they did way better with PS4.
PS4 just destroyed the market, but the thing that's going to make me not buy a Series X, still no console exclusives. I have no reason to buy one. I have a PC that can run them just fine.
Same. Then they're not having exclusives on it. Everything is going to be through the Windows Microsoft PC market or the Xbox Series X for those who want it. And if you want one, cheers, man. I salute you. Keep the gaming dream alive. Seriously.
Yeah, if it's easier access for you. If you can't afford a PC, then it's great for you. But unfortunately, I have no need.
If Sony can keep their track record going with the amount of exclusives and the amount of third-party and indie titles that they have this for the PlayStation 4, they're going to do great just like they did with the PS4.
The amount of companies they have under their belt right now is... And not even the amount, the quality of those that they have are insane.
Well, you got to hand it to Microsoft, though. They've bought up a lot of great studios, actually.
Yeah, a lot of indie studios, though.
True,
which a lot of those indie studios are very good. Don't get me wrong. Indie studios are, honestly, they have become my favorite out of any studio. And I would like to thank Team Cherry for that, because they had a brilliant model with Hollow Knight. And the fact they gave all the DLC for free, and the game was only $15 with plenty of hours of play.
There's some amazing indie titles out there. Yeah, but you know what? No matter what console you play on, we're all saluting the flag of gaming. And right now, we're still curious what the flag's going to look like for the PlayStation 5, but we got a glimpse. We got a glimpse with this new controller, and all I can say to that, Derp, is the possibilities are exciting.
Yes, they are. But I would like to say that I wish I was as rich as the guy that got to remodel the logo for the PS5.
Oh my god, yeah, that was so stupid.
Where
Eric,
they just delete the 4 and they put in the 5.
Yeah, that was so lame. I'm like, you guys in your marketing department spent ungodly amounts of money, Scrooge McDuck amounts of money, just to come up with the same logo as the 4. Hey, it's in black and white now. Chroma key, we threw that out. No colors. No colors. It's all inverted. It's all inverted colors.
I think they're making a statement. Gaming is black and white. It's either good or it's bad. And us, we're on the good side.
And you know what? At least there's color in the controller.
Now there is, rather than it being on the backside where you can't see.
That's true. It's black and white and blue LEDs. So they threw in some blue in there, so we're good.
Yeah, they threw some of you in there, so that's good. That was a hearty conversation about the PS5 controller that ramped into something else.
I know, but there was a lot of things that needed to be said about this controller. It's not like, oh, hey, it's cool, let's move on. We had to talk about it.
But next...
rumors and speculation. So, Derp, Resident Evil 8. A lot of rumors going on about that. Have you heard about it? Have you read about it?
You mean Resident Evil V, capital I, LL, age?
Yep, basically. So, apparently about a week or so ago, it's been rumored that this game has started out as Resident Evil Revelations 3.
Yeah.
Which is what I love. I love the Revelation series. It went back to its old school Resident Evil roots, and I'm all for it. I've been rooting for it since I finished 2 on stream. I loved Revelations 2 with Barry and Claire.
So I had started thinking about recent memory of Resident Evil games and where they usually are and where they end.
Yeah.
Small rural towns.
Okay.
Or a boat.
Or in Revelation's case, an island. Oh, excuse me. Revelations 1, on a boat / ship. Revelations 2, a remote island.
Yeah.
But you get the picture.
Yeah.
But apparently the game testers were loving how Revelations 3 was turning out, and because of the feedback, according to this rumor, it's been tweaked to be a main series game instead of Revelations 3.
And I'm okay with that.
Yeah. And the other day, the latest rumor is it's supposedly titled Resident Evil Village.
Which would work.
Yeah, it would highlight the word village they'll highlight that in orange to make it VILL, but VIII for 8.
Like with what they did with Resident Evil 7.
Yeah, it's actually pretty clever marketing. It really is. It's not bad. I like it. I like that idea.
When you get to it and you think, Resident Evil 9... what are the only things that come in IX?
6? I can't. Well, I leave that up for the marketing department. I don't know.
Remix?
Oh, Remix. Okay, that works too. Resident Evil Remix. That could definitely be a 9.
Where they reboot the whole series from the first game and they just retell a new story.
You know, I love Resident Evil. I'll keep playing them if they keep making them. But at some point, I'll be like, come on, guys. Come on. But
maybe they could take the Konami route and go Resident Evil HD collection.
Fuck you.
Oh, by the way, I also want to make note. That
that hurts, man. That hurts, man.
This will be on the next topic, but I'll save that one for next. I'll save my comment for the next one.
Leave the comment in your back pocket. We'll get back to it. Now, the last part of this Resident Evil 8 rumor, Derp, it's rumored that it's supposed to star Chris Redfield, and we will learn more about Ethan, the main character from Resident Evil 7, and it's also rumored to still be in first person, as 7 was.
So, we get to be the new Chris Redfield?
You know, I've been following the Resident Evil series since you introduced it to me, and Chris Redfield has looked just about the same, minus the body count, his physicality, his roided out Rage in 5. I know we make fun of it, I know we talk about it, but Chris Redfield has generally looked the same in just about every game, except for 7. They made him an average built, which is fine, but then he's blonde, new voice actor. I don't know if I'm not over the shock value. But I was having a conversation with our troll in our Facebook about it, and I think I know why I'm still mad about it. You want to know what it is?
What is it?
Resident Evil 7 came out in January of 2017, and all of a sudden, this guy pops up out of nowhere, introduces himself as Redfield, and he's flying a helicopter that has the Umbrella logo on it, but it's in blue. And it throws my whole world off going, you're not Chris Redfield. That's not Umbrella. What the hell's going on? And then no more than February, March, April, May. So no more than 4 months later, they come out with Resident Evil Vendetta, the CGI movie. I watched it. That Chris Redfield looks exactly like the Chris Redfield I know in Revelations 4 or 5, 6, Code Veronica, you name it. And they say that Vendetta takes place after Resident Evil 6, but before 7. And I'm like, and who the hell is this Chris Redfield in 7? It looks nothing like him.
But it takes place before. He could have had facial surgery to protect him from all the baddies. We've been over this. He could have facial reconstruction. You think they don't have that technology, Blue? You think Umbrella wouldn't be going that far if they were turning over a new leaf and he went to actually fix the problem and save the world? Do you think he's beneath? Do you think he's beneath facial reconstruction, sir?
I know what you're trying to do, and I appreciate it, but I have to accept the fact that Capcom, with Resident Evil 7, went to a brand new technology for photorealistic looking, looks for actors. The actors look like they do in the game.
Sir, you're breaking the fourth wall.
They wanted to make it more realistic. I get it. I have to accept the fact that Chris Redfield, it looks different.
Sir, you got to take this from a non outside the game perspective. He just got facial reconstruction.
Oh, well, look at it this way. Resident Evil Remake 2, Resident Evil Remake 3 use the same facial reconstruction photorealistic approach, but they still made Leon and Claire look like they did in the original game. They found actors who looked like they represent the Leon and Claire I knew in Resident Evil 2. They found an actress who played Jill, who represents the Jill that I know.
Uh-huh.
Why couldn't they do that with Chris Redfield? Seriously. That's all I have to say about that.
I'm going to start wondering if people are going to start counting how many times I can trigger you into a fit every podcast.
You know what's interesting about these Cogcaster? This is our third one, but ever since I started doing these with you, I'm finally letting my true feelings out when it comes to things that irritate me. And it's weird, because I've never had a platform or a medium where I can actually do that.
That and the fact that I'm kind of triggering you a lot of the time, so it's all good.
Yeah, it is your fault. You goddamn know it.
Hey, if I didn't poke the bear wouldn't get angry, okay?
That's very true. That's very true. But I love Resident Evil. I'll keep playing them if you keep making them. Anyway, that was all the rumors for Resident Evil 8.
So I gotta say though, what was it you said last week? If there was one game series I'd want them to go back to, but I don't think it'll ever happen, I would love Konami to go back to Silent Hill.
I did say that.
A week ago.
And there are rumors swirling around the internet about Silent Hill, Konami, and Sony. Apparently Sony is trying to purchase Konami franchises like Silent Hill, Metal Gear, Castlevania.
Which makes sense because do you remember that Kojima was posting shit about making a scariest horror game possible as his next game?
He did. He was posting that on his personal Twitter.
And people were rumoring that he was trying to buy the Silent Hill franchise.
Here's what's also interesting. There's a really cool website out there called Rely on Horror, and it's about survival horror games. They emailed Konami.
I totally thought you were on a different website for a second until I realized you said horror.
Rely on Horror, not Rely on Horror. Horsbath.
Down and dirty.
They emailed the Konami and got responded back to by a representative, and he said, and I quote, "We're aware of all the rumors and reports, but can confirm they are not true. I know it's not the answer your fans want to hear." The representative later clarified that, quote, "It's not to say we are completely closing the door on the franchise. It's just not in the way it's being reported." So they shut it down that the rumors of Sony buying all those franchises are untrue. Or are they?
This is what I think.
What you got?
Konami's trying to apologize. And they're trying to realize that they fucked up.
Okay. It's an interesting thought.
But I'm guessing that what they're going to do is if it comes out, they're going to keep the franchise. But what they're going to do is try and partner with Sony a little bit And Sony's going to get Konami under their belt too, but Konami will still be their own company, but what they'll do is let Kojima use the franchises since he's under Sony as well and actually make the games, but he won't be being control. He won't be getting controlled by Konami on what he's doing.
Yeah, I read an article that says that Sony is basically playing telephone for Kojima. They're being the mediator.
Yeah. That's what I think.
Okay. Now, if Sony can pull this off, then they'll have 3 amazing franchises under their belt that Microsoft can't compete with.
And Konami can't do a thing, and Konami won't. I'm guessing they'll have an agreement that Konami cannot interfere and let them do their work, whoever is working on the game.
Well, Konami will have to make a lot of money from Sony.
They'll just get a cut from Sony saying, here, thanks for letting us use your franchise. Here's your money.
That would be interesting if that actually turns out to be true. I can only hope, but it's interesting that this rumor started going around after I started talking about it. I'm not gonna hold my breath, but if it does happen, I will be extremely surprised.
But yeah, that's all on that. That was just, yeah, I thought it was funny that when you wrote that in there, and I'm thinking, I gotta make fun of him on some level of this.
You know what? I'm glad you pointed that out too. That is cool. We did discuss this in our last Cogcast, and I did say I wanted to do something with Silent Hill, and it seems fitting.
And you were like, it'll probably never, ever happen.
Ever happen.
2 days later, rumor of Silent Hill.
I'm like, you gotta be shitting me. There is even a Japanese horror artist on Instagram. You can look it up on the interweb somewhere. But anyway, apparently he went to Konami headquarters, took a couple of pictures, and I guess he visited Konami for Silent Hills, and he took a picture of the word Silent Hills and the Konami building.
Yeah, I saw that.
And I thought that was interesting too. And that came out days after Konami shut down all the rumors. But like I said, these are just rumors. But they're fun. They're fun. That's all there are. They're just fun possibilities. They're fun possibilities.
Yeah, the fun thing about rumors, a majority of rumors found online about games, usually when it comes to games, they have a big bit of truth to them.
There is a lot of evidence out there, and a lot of people... Dude, the amount of rumors that we got this past week alone... Every article in every major gaming publication says, well, such and such that goes by this handle said about this rumor, and he's very reliable because all of the rumors he told us last time turned out to be true. That I've been reading that a lot lately. That this is a substantial person, and I'm like, interesting. Well, we'll see what happens.
Yep. I'm sure it'll be a bit before we hear anything in general, but it's a good possibility you may get that Silent Hill that you wanted.
One can only hope.
Maybe we'll get the real PT.
I don't want to get my hopes up. Alright, last bit of gaming news is the recent release of Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Which, oh my god, it's so fucking good.
Derp, I'm 12 hours into it.
I'm only 6.
It's amazing. I absolutely love it.
I've been working too much. I can't play it. And now we're doing a Cogcast right now, so I can't play it now.
Don't worry, you'll have time. You own it forever. It'll never go away.
I know, but I want to play it.
Well, one of the reasons why I put this in as an announcement for a game of, what was it? Gaming highlights of the week is because it's a big deal. Final Fantasy VII Remake being released is a big deal. Do you want to know why? Why? Everybody who's listening out there.
I want to know what your reasoning is. I'm just saying it's a good reason because fucking Final Fantasy VII, okay?
Okay, let me build where this started. 2005. E3. Sony debuted a technical demo for Final Fantasy VII to demonstrate the capabilities of the PlayStation 3.
Which, I still remember that to this day.
But if you think about that, though, that came out in 2005. As fans, you and me and the world out there who are Final Fantasy VII fans...
wanted that game to happen.
Yes, they wanted that game to happen. When they saw that, they're like, this is happening, right? You guys are doing this, right? I know it said technical demo, but you're making it, right? And lo and behold, that's all it was. It was just a technical demo, and we were holding on hope. We were holding on hope. Fast forward to E3 2014. Square surprised fans that Final Fantasy VII was indeed coming to the PlayStation 4. However, here's where it gets dark. It turned out to be an HD PC port of the original Final Fantasy VII game that came out in 1996. Not a remake. The word remake didn't even exist yet. Just, it's coming to PS4, but it's the old game. And the meme that I sent you that was swirling around the internet after that says that moment when an old game re-releases as an old game. The people's blank faces, their blank stares, was how the world felt.
Yep.
Oh, they got booed. It was horrible. It was horrible. But it gets better, though, guys. It gets better. 1 year later, E3 2015, a new promise has been made as stated in the form of the first teaser trailer for Final Fantasy VII. It was announced that it would be a promise of a return to Final Fantasy VII, and then the word remake appeared. The world celebrated with joy and glee.
I'm trying to remember because they showed the little teaser. Was it a sword or was it like a feather? I can't remember how they did it. I know I watched it. It was like
I watched it. I rewatched it just to give me goosebumps. Words popped up on the screen. The musical cues started. You saw glimpses of the city, and it kind of looked like Advent Children. And then you see nothing but black and a person walking forward. And then the musical cues of Final Fantasy VII picked up, and then you realize that you saw the form of the Buster Sword and Cloud walking further into the slums. And then it fades to black, and then pops up, boom, remake. Everyone cheered, the crowd went wild, and I jumped out of my seat. I was like, oh my god.
Okay.
So, listen to this. 15 years after the PS3 tech demo, 6 years after the PC port announcement, and 5 years after the remake announcement, April 10th, 2020, Final Fantasy VII Remake is finally released for the PS4, and it is now for all the world to play. The world comes together in unison, as one. We celebrate with joy and glee.
Guys, the game is straight up a masterpiece so far. And they've done things that make me so happy. And I'll just say one thing. Jessie, best girl.
Jessie, best girl.
Jessie, best girl.
Because it's a remake, there are changes, but they're welcoming, they're refreshing. I don't know what to expect now because of the original being played so many times. So it's great.
And obviously, we're not spoiling anything here, guys.
No, we will not spoil a thing. But we're just so happy that it's out and we're enjoying the game. It's Final Fantasy at its core, and everything about it.
They've added so much more to the characters. Cloud actually has speaking parts.
Yeah.
And he's got a personality.
Yeah.
And it's the personality I would expect him to have.
Yeah.
Even though he's never had a solid, speaking personality.
You had to interpret it by reading all the dialogue back in the day.
Yeah.
It was all interpretation.
Yeah, and Cloud's perfect. I love how they did Cloud. And by the way, Sephiroth's voice actor?
Not bad.
No, he's
not
good.
Not bad at all.
He's good.
I was pretty impressed. I was
impressed.
I was pretty impressed.
He was so good that he couldn't get his R out. He got an L.
I'm very impressed. All right, here's what I want to say to Square Enix. All right, Square, are you listening? Thank you for not only fulfilling your promise to fans worldwide, but for listening to them for the last 15 years and delivering something beyond all expectations. I'm not done with the game, but 12 hours in, I'm as happy as a clam.
Dude. 6 hours in, and I'm happier than a clam has ever known. And I think I still have minor chub off the whole thing.
When the title screen pops up and the music starts, I started like crying and laughing at the same time.
Dude, I didn't cry and laugh, but dude,
I was just so happy going, I can't believe this is
no
real.
spoilers, but seriously, I talked to you about the transition from when the start of the opening was different.
Yeah.
And then the music transitioned into what you remember.
Yeah.
Dude, that transition made me tear up.
When it comes to our discussion last week about remakes and remasters, does it take away from the original or does it add to it and make it better?
They added.
This fucking adds to it and makes it better and more.
And I gotta say, the fact that they've added in both modes gives you 2 games to play.
Yeah, there's a classic mode, a normal mode, and a hard mode?
Well, yeah, but the hard mode is still the new combat mode, just harder.
Right.
But
That
the
is
fact that you
still
can
cool.
go back and play the whole game as you remember it, just with the new graphics, dude, that's a good remake. And we had the conversation about remakes and remasters. Final Fantasy VII, hands down, that's how every remake should be done.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I can't wait to beat it. We'll have to talk about it.
Personal gaming highlights of the week.
Derp, do you have a gaming highlight of the week?
So, I've been working a lot this week, so I haven't really had a chance to stream. But, as far as my gaming highlights go, don't involve video games this week, other than the fact of Final Fantasy VII.
Cool.
Which we've been over.
Yeah.
I have started changing our story I had started writing, and an idea, and I started doing it into a tabletop RPG.
You're writing a tabletop RPG.
I am. Well, at the moment, it's going to take a very long time to get anything nailed down, but I've taken an idea I've had that I've slowly been writing on for a while, and I've started turning it into a tabletop RPG because what it is and how it is fits better in a tabletop rather than a because I wanted it to be a JRPG, like a game, or like an RPG in general, like that kind of style of game.
Yeah.
But I started looking at how I wanted to do it, and it would be much better if a person could be their own character and their own story could evolve off of it rather than having a pre-written story.
Okay. That's awesome. Do you have a title for this yet, or is it still in development?
I have a somewhat title, but I'm not going to give it away. Though
no working title. You don't want to give it away. Okay, secrets are important. I get it.
Because the name kind of gives away what I'm going for in a way.
Okay.
But by the time this is out, I may, well, maybe not. I may or may not have already done a sneak peek on our Discord for it.
Well, I better be invited to this sneak peek if you have one.
It may be tonight or it may be tomorrow.
All right. Well, I wish you luck, sir. That's exciting news.
It's just me giving off the general idea, but I still have a lot more to put together.
Okay. Well, that's awesome.
Yeah,
very cool.
That's my gaming highlight of the week, is just I'm trying to set up a tabletop RPG, and it's going to have the basis of, right now until I look into more stuff, it has 5th edition D&D elements mixed with Rifts, which is the tabletop I used to play way back. I didn't play much D&D, but Rifts was my thing.
Derp tried to get me to play Risk with him, and I was confused. I didn't know how tabletops work, and when he tried to show me, I didn't make it any easier for him.
No. But
one of these days, Derp, I'll join in on a game like that.
Well, we'll see how this idea comes forth. I've talked to a guy about it at work and told him a few things, and he actually was very receptive on it. He kind of liked the idea. So
cool.
We'll see.
Cool. Well, I can't wait to learn more. Keep at it. Keep at it.
I shall.
Keep fighting the good fight.
But how about you?
Well, I ended up having to work more this week than I have in the last week and a half. I've been busy. I haven't been able to stream. I've been wanting to stream, and then the world got really, really heavy, and it weighed on me heavy. And then I kind of got lost in my own head, and then I kept working some more on top of that. So I haven't been streaming. I haven't been in people's Twitch channels, and I've hardly had a presence in Discord. And I apologize to everybody for that. It's just been, this lockdown has been weighing so heavy.
He's a very emotional butterfly.
I am, and I got trapped in this funk, but I like to announce that I guess I'm out of it. I'm feeling better. I've had a lot of support from friends, Derp included, Arcanian, and I streamed today. I had the nerve to stream today. I got the itch.
The nerve of you.
I know, wrong word usage. I had the itch to stream today.
There you go.
I was a little nervous. It's been my last stream was 9 days ago, according to Twitch, when I looked at the video.
Yeah, well, how long has mine been?
Yeah, fair enough.
Okay, then.
But look, I go from like a consistent week of like streaming almost every day, and then I hit a brick wall with work, and then I hit a brick wall with life, and then trying to get out of that and getting to stream was a little challenging. But
I'm sure everyone's fine with it because they're getting their Cogcast thing once a week at least.
That's true. We've been finding a lot of people have been enjoying listening to this Cogcast, and I still enjoy it. I still enjoy doing it with you.
Yes, I can't wait for this every week. Honestly, this is my highlight of every week, is us doing this because I have so much fun talking about shit.
Yeah, same.
But also, I do want to say thank you to all the supporters out there right now who are listening to us from the start. Obviously, I'm just going to say a few of the names that I know right offhand. Indigo, Omega, and Slade, for sure. You guys are amazing. Thank you for saying your support vocally and letting us know that you guys like listening to us.
Yeah, that does help us out. We're two friends having fun, but we like knowing you're having fun as well.
And that's not to say that other people aren't listening and enjoying. Just thank you for vocally saying that to us. We appreciate it.
But guess what, Derp?
God, you know I'm bad at trick questions.
My gaming highlight of the week was today. I streamed. I feel better. I beat Resident Evil 3 Remake, and I had a lot of fun. Had a lot of support today, and it was overall a great experience, and I'm glad I'm back.
It's good to have you back, buddy.
Well, thank you.
And I should be able to stream this weekend.
Oh, cool. I look forward to that. I hope so. That would be awesome.
I know I have to pressure wash a driveway this week, I think.
Pressure wash a driveway. Wow.
Yeah, pretty much. Get all the dirt and crap out of it for the parentals.
What do you use for a pressure washer?
My dad has an actual pressure washer.
Oh, I thought you were going to pull out a super soaker from your closet from the 90s.
No, my dad has a super soaker of doom.
Sploosh.
Yeah. We'll leave a hole in you, buddy.
Streaming goals of the week. Derp, do you have streaming goals of the week?
Streaming goals of the week. I just need to stream. And I think it will be probably tomorrow.
Ooh.
And more than likely, I will end up doing a library stream. Because I honestly have fun with those. It's fun to just get random-ass games and then get into them and be like, wow, this game's actually kind of cool. Or, wow.
Your library streams are fun.
I just take the hit for the people, so if they see a game that is absolutely asinine and they don't want to play or I'm having an issue with, they know. Don't touch it. Or like, hey, this game's actually kind of weirdly entertaining. Hey, that's what they're there for, honestly.
No, it is. We get to see a lot of games that way. You push out a lot of content, and we all have fun with it.
That's really, as far as the streaming goals, yeah, I'm still trying to get back onto Geralt. Just, it's hard to figure out how to set up everything and get it so I can do a proper recording every time. I've actually moved Geralt onto a cardboard piece so I can actually transport him when I need to and move him.
You know what you should do? You should transport him to your bed, and you should sleep with him.
What, the top of his dome?
Yeah, maybe in your sleep you can finish, all the way to his mouth.
And then I wake up and all of the little beads are everywhere, and then I just quit doing it in general.
Well, that sounds like you might have had a really, really crazy time last night. You should probably not do that.
Yeah, pretty much. But it is Geralt, so, I mean, It is Geralt.
I hope you get back to it, though. I was teasing.
Yeah, I know. I need to get back to it. It's just, yeah. When you're working so much, you kind of just want to sit and play games. I just haven't had the motivation to get back on the Geralt yet. Giggity.
It's all good. When you do, we'll be excited.
And then I've been into the D&D thing, or the tabletop writing, the past few days.
Well, let's see. I just beat Resident Evil 3 Remake, so I guess my goal is to figure out what my next game is. Well, we discussed Shenmue 2 in last week's Cogcast, and I'd say that's still looking good. I've got an itch, though. I've got an itch to play Metroid Zero Mission on the Game Boy Advance.
Well, sure.
I have not streamed that game before, and it's one of my personal favorites, but we'll see. I haven't made a decision yet. We'll see what I'm feeling in the moment when we get there, but I am leaning towards Shenmue 2, based of our last week's conversation about it, and I was getting pretty hyped over it. But I ended up watching a video on YouTube, and it landed on Metroid retrospectives, and I'm like, God, I miss Metroid Zero Mission. And then it kind of spiraled in my brain after that.
Very well.
That's all I got.
I'm trying to find out ways to not say out freaking standing or outstanding. I know I'm going to say it, so I'm trying to break myself of the habit.
We should get you a thesaurus. Look up the word outstanding, see all other words just like it.
Glorious!
There you go.
Oh,
there you go.
Here's what I'll do, just to show you, because no one else will be able to see it, but just to show you how serious I've been towards it and how much of an outline I'm doing.
Damn, son. You've got 18 pages.
So I'm working on it.
That's awesome.
I have a general outline. I'm working on stuff, but
that's super cool, dude. It says that Blue Nile is the hottest and sexiest streamer on Twitch. Derp, I gotta play this game.
He's lying. I wrote no such thing.
He's lying. He doesn't want to expose the truth.
People make up the truth for themselves, sir.
And some people deny the truth, but it resides in their brains for all eternity.
I don't even know what we're talking about anymore.
So, Derp, we came up with some new topics for this week's Cogcast, and they were really, really interesting.
But you know what we're going to do before that?
What's that?
We're going to take a little break. We'll see you guys after the break.
Derp, I was in the middle of trying to get people excited about these topics, and you cut me off!
Yeah, but we got to do things, sir. We got to do things.
We do. Hey, guys, welcome back. Thanks for waiting.
Welcome back.
So, Derp, we've got topics. We created topics for this week. They were really cool, really interesting, and it made my brain churn. What do we got? What do you got for us this week?
So the themes were based on movies that are turned into games and games that are turned into movies. So, first topic that we threw into the Discord was games turned into movies. What did you like and what have you disliked when games are turned into movies?
They made a video game. The game was fun. People liked it. They liked it so much. Hey, what happens if we try to make that game into a movie? How did it fare, Derp? How did it fare for you?
My likes, I have actually a few likes. I'll give a couple of my dislikes.
Okay.
But I'll give a reason for the dislikes and what I think they should have done.
Okay.
I have one dislike, which is also in the dislikes of a few of the people who put in their pieces too.
Okay. I have two dislikes.
Games and the movies. Of course, Resident Evil, but I do have a bad side to that as well. I love the Resident Evil movies. I do. I like them. I like that they added in the current characters, and I get they were making their own story. But changing the general idea of how the virus was being done bothered me. It always bothered me.
What do you mean? What do you mean? Tell me things. Changing it how it's done. What do you mean?
When they were saying green for the virus and blue for the antivirus and doing that thing.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
That bothered me. I know he's going to pop out of the seat, and he can't even show you guys, but he's going to pop out of his seat and grab his two little virus bottles so he can show them off, because I know he has them. And he's going to show them off to no one but me.
Look what I got.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I love the movies. I do. The Resident Evil movies are good. Mia Jovovich is amazing. She's hot. She's awesome.
Supreme being. She's the supreme being.
It always just bothered me with how they did the whole virus thing. And then also Nemesis. They gave him humanity. And there were just things they did with characters and in the movies that really just didn't work for me.
You know what Nemesis didn't have in the second movie?
A rocket launcher?
No, he had one. It was in the movie.
Oh, was it?
It was.
I can't remember. It's been so long.
He didn't have tentacles.
That's right. He didn't. I forgot about that part.
He was just a big buff Terminator.
Yeah, pretty much. He was Tyrant with mind.
Yeah, being computer programmed and controlled like a joystick and an arcade game. I didn't like
and
that aspect was interesting too.
It was interesting, but still, he never had a heart. Nemesis was a killing machine. Straight up. There was no humanity of him. But they tried to give him humanity, much like my next game to movie that I love, Silent Hill. The first movie. Because there's only one movie of Silent Hill.
No, there's two.
No, there's
one.
one.
No, there's
one.
two.
Shut up, there's one.
No, there's one that's good and there's one that's bad.
There's one that doesn't exist.
That's a little harsh. Continue. I'm sorry.
Anyways, so the first Silent Hill movie, amazing. They combined all the best aspects of Silent Hills 1, 2, and 3 and put it into a movie and just made a really good story that told overall a great story for Silent Hill.
I actually agree with you. I mean, it had all the things that I loved about Silent Hill, and the story changes they're actually quite unique and refreshing. They didn't rehash the old story. They took it with a unique twist and added some new elements to it that you wouldn't expect. And I liked that. It was awesome. I liked that. I thought it was great.
Then the one that didn't exist came around, and for some reason, Pyramid Head got humanity too.
Yeah, kinda.
He gained
was also
friendship.
In the background a lot too.
We can defeat everything with the power of friendship, guys. This is Kingdom Hearts of Silent Hill. But I'm glad that movie doesn't exist.
I respect your opinion, Derp. I respect your opinion. All jokes aside, I am enjoying this.
And then at the top of my list, which honestly, I can't say anything bad about. The only thing I can go in about it being bad is it's not bad. It's just the way they went about it. Sonic.
The Hedgehog?
Yeah, the Sonic movie is really good.
I agree.
I loved it.
I loved it too. It
was a very fun movie. I enjoyed it immensely. It was hokey in some spots. Yeah, it's a mediocre movie, but it was fun. That's all you want to do at a movie is have fun. If you had fun at a movie, the company won. That's all they need is that you had fun and you'll come back for more.
And I want more.
I do. I want really more because, honestly, the end scenes, I'm not going to spoil it, but they had the end scenes, a certain enemy and also a certain friend.
They left it open. It was fun. You remember that whole controversy about how the way Sonic looks and the world backlashed?
Yeah, no, that's what I'm going into. I honestly think that was on purpose.
Really?
I honestly think the movie was done, and they didn't go back and fix anything. I'm pretty sure that trailer was fabricated.
We got a conspiracy theorist on our hands, people.
With this, yes. But honestly, if it was ingenious. Because what did they do? They got the entire attention of the entire world and got so many people so upset that they got them fighting for what they wanted.
And got it.
And then when they gave them what they wanted, what did everyone go do? They went and saw the movie. So
yeah, if that was a marketing ploy, bravo. Yeah. Can I also add that James Marsden finally got a lead role and he wasn't just a side bitch? Good for you, James Marsden. You stuck it out and you landed on a movie that actually did very well at the box office. You finally made it.
And he got to be a counterpart to Jim Carrey.
Yeah, he did. Who was, in my opinion, the best part of the whole movie. Jim Carrey was at in his element with this movie. I loved it.
Okay, Jim Carrey in that movie was pretty much Ace Ventura.
It
felt like his Ace Ventura days, and it was great.
It was great. I loved it.
Of course I want a latte. I love how you make them.
Awesome, sir. So you got any more likes or dislikes you want to throw in there, are you good?
My last dislike, and it's a full dislike, but I like the movie for what it is. Spirits Within, Final Fantasy.
Okay, you dislike it, but you still like it for what it is.
It's not a Final Fantasy movie. If they didn't have the Final Fantasy tag on it and try to spin it as a Final Fantasy movie, I would be perfectly okay with the movie, but it was not a Final Fantasy movie. It is not what you go there to expect for Final Fantasy.
I have a question on that, though. What do you mean it's not Final Fantasy? Because I disagree. I actually thought it was very Final Fantasy, but I want to hear your opinion.
I don't think it was, because what does every Final Fantasy have? It has medieval fantasy elements like sword fighting. There's some sort of sword fighter in it. There's some sort of, fantasy element. There's, magic. There's summons. There's things like that.
Okay.
This had none of the above. It was just a futuristic movie based on spirits that lived within the planet and were coming to try and reclaim, or they were reclaiming the planet, trying to heal it, blah, blah, blah. That was not magic. That was just, I'm not going to go into that because I could probably offend some people if I put it on another spin, but...
Well, Derp, there's a lot of people out there who agree with you. There's a lot of people. There's a reason why this actually tanked Square Pictures, their first movie they have ever debuted. This is not a good movie to a lot of people. So I don't think you're going to offend anybody.
In this, with where I was going, it might. So I'm not going to do that.
Okay.
But it was very centered around the Earth.
Actual Earth.
Protecting itself and healing itself.
It's like the first Final Fantasy that actually starred the planet Earth. Every other Final Fantasy was on its own world.
But what they did is they basically tried to take Meteor from FF7 and they reversed it into the planet being Meteor, pretty much, and combining Meteor with the life stream and having it attack the world.
Well, here's the thing, because my take on the whole thing, I loved it, but this is why I loved it. This is a different perspective for mine. I thought it incorporated a lot of variety of Final Fantasy story elements into this story. Like when you say the planet, they called it Gaia. Gaia, the planet, had its own spirit.
Which I get that.
It was a nod to the life stream in Final Fantasy VII. Mm-hmm. The main weapon that they wanted to use to destroy all of the creatures from the Gaia that was destroyed throughout the billions of years that the planet was alive, it was called the Zeus Cannon, and it reminded me of all the weaponry in Final Fantasy VIII. It also had amazing voice actors, too, in it, which also bring credibility to the movie in general.
Okay, so I get where you're coming from, but at the same time, voice actors don't make what the game was.
Well, that's the thing. It wasn't trying to be a game. It was trying to be a movie.
They're just voice actors. They're just playing parts, and then...
But they got some great fucking actors, though. Alec Baldwin, Steve Buscemi, Donald Sutherland, James Woods.
I get it, but take the Final Fantasy name off. Just name it The Spirits Within. It's a Square Enix production. It is not Final Fantasy. Again, there's no magic. There's no, desperate fighting. It's all guns. Final Fantasy is not all about guns. They have guns in it, yes. But there's usually some sort of swords, there's fighting, there's magic, there's supernatural elements, which...
The supernatural elements in this one was the spirits, yes.
That was it. That was the only thing about it that was in any way magical about it.
It was also a very early CG movie, which cost a ton of money back then.
It was downright beautiful.
The movie came out in 2001. You got to put into perspective the time period this game came out.
Oh yeah, I get that, but again, you can still write a movie and base the animation around that story. The story was written before the movie was made. So I still can't get behind that it was because of the time it was made, because they can still animate it differently to coincide with a Final Fantasy game.
I also feel if they took the name Final Fantasy away, people would call it a Final Fantasy ripoff.
I don't think so. That's the thing, is most of the people I talk to agree, that don't like it, would agree with the fact if it didn't have the Final Fantasy name on it, it would be great. And it is a great movie. The movie was awesome. I liked it. Overall, I liked the movie. The thing that rubs people the wrong way is it is not a Final Fantasy movie.
Fair enough. I disagree, but I respect your opinion. I thought The elements of Final Fantasy were there for me, and I took a lot from it. But that's just me.
And you know what? If you guys find a place to comment somewhere, feel free, and we will find it. Even in Discord, if you guys want to discuss it, feel free to after you watch it, and we'll chime in. But
you mean listen to it? They don't watch the Cogcast.
Well, yeah. Once you listen to it, just let us know what you think, because
we have a channel for that. It's PG Cogcast. You can leave feedback in the PG Cogcast.
I guess that works too.
Yeah.
Or maybe we can make a separate channel for discussion, episode discussion.
We could do that. We'll do episode discussion. We'll do that one. But I gotta be honest with you. I know for a fact I'm in the minority. I am the 1% who actually loved it as a Final Fantasy movie. I don't know anybody who agrees with me or even feels the same way I do. Everybody I've ever talked to about this game all hated it.
Oh, I didn't. Okay. Again, I didn't hate it. I just hate the way it was marketed. They marketed it as a Final Fantasy movie, and I don't see it as a Final Fantasy movie. The movie itself is awesome. The voice actors are awesome. The idea was great.
All right. Well,
the titling and the marketing was wrong.
Okay. Sounds good.
But I respect your opinion, sir.
I respect yours too. We don't have to agree on it. But all I know is I'm still in the minority.
Fuck you,
and I'm okay with
me.
that. Fuck that. That was good though. Thank you for letting me chime in on that one. That was fun.
Yeah. So anyways, what about you, sir?
What about me?
Sorry, we've been all about me this first 20 minutes, so.
There's nothing wrong with that, because some of the stuff that you mentioned, I listed a few of them myself. I have a list of movies that I like with a couple of things that I wrote about them, and then I have 2 dislikes. So I'll do my likes first. So my first like, Silent Hill. Came out in 2006.
Yeah, so we're on an even page there.
We already talked about it. I absolutely love it. So Silent Hill was one of the best video game adaptations, faithful adaptations, while still being different, refreshing, and unique. I still thoroughly enjoy it.
Like even more than Resident Evil for you, huh?
Yes.
Good.
Yes, absolutely. So my next one is actually the Resident Evil movies, the 2002 to 2017, but I lumped them all together. There are some I like more than others, and there's some that are okay, but I also included the CGI movies. The live action, you did mention they were separate from the game series, and it was meant to be its own thing. But it did feature characters, places, and a ton of Easter eggs for the games to mix it up for the fans. I won't get too detailed into it. We can have another discussion on that one. But some of the movies did well as a movie, and some of them I didn't like at all because they put in characters from the games just to kill them off immediately, and it didn't really bring anything more to the plot.
Oh, that's fair.
Okay, they actually fleshed out Carlos in a few movies. But the person who I actually was really excited to see who they killed off immediately was the guy they got to play Barry in Resident Evil Retribution. He shows up out of nowhere, and then they kill him out of nowhere. I'm like, well, what was the point? That didn't further the plot, and I didn't care for him as a character. Dude, these movies have been out for a while. They're still fun. These movies are still popcorn flicks, and there's enough Easter eggs to go around to make any Resident Evil fan, like, gasm in their pants. All right? I enjoy them for what they are, and I loved all of them.
Honestly, let's be real. Any guy going to see Resident Evil seeing it for Mia Jovovich to, cream in their pants.
Hey, you need something to market them, right? Mia Jovovich is awesome, and we all know that, and it was a great character. What I also find very fun and unique, though, was when they created the Red Queen supercomputer in Resident Evil 1.
That was pretty cool. I liked Red Queen.
Yeah, it was cool. It was so cool. Capcom created the Red Queen computer in Resident Evil: The Umbrella Chronicles for one of the last missions with Jill and Chris.
I do remember that. Because we did that on Extra Life.
Brilliant. We played
all of Umbrella.
Yeah, we did that on Extra Life. It was brilliant, dude. And I loved how Capcom incorporated that. But not all the movies are great, but they are good. They're good fun. The CGI movies, however, they made 3 of them. Degeneration, Damnation, and Vendetta. They all take place within the game universe with the same characters, and they are awesome.
It's sort of like Advent Children. Advent Children's awesome.
It is awesome.
That is an awesome Final Fantasy movie.
Yeah. It's nice that you bring that up, Derp, because that's the next movie on my list.
Oh, well, hey.
So my other like is Final Fantasy VII Advent Children. That came out in 2006. Now, okay, it's the sequel to Final Fantasy VII we never knew we wanted. Kingdom Hearts fleshed out the characters for Cloud, Aerith, Sephiroth, Yuffie, and Leon from Final Fantasy VIII.
But I gotta say that I much more appreciate the new Cloud in the remake than I do the depressive Cloud from Advent Children.
They definitely have improved on his character. Yes, it took some time to get there. Yes, but the first time you hear these characters speak was in Kingdom Hearts, and you're like, wow, this is cool. But prior to all this,
and then Lance Bass was the Kingdom Hearts Sephiroth in the first game.
Yes.
That's right. It was a different guy for the movie.
But prior to all this, all these games, like we were discussing earlier, they were interpreted by the player through text. So to hear them fleshed out in Kingdom Hearts was awesome.
Yeah.
So take a movie like Advent Children, where you get to see a city like Midgar in a way no one has ever seen it before, and watch your favorite Final Fantasy characters walk, talk, and fight like no one has ever seen before. It's amazing.
And then when you realize who the White Wolf is...
Dude, plus this type of movie also helped build the hype for Final Fantasy VII Remake, because this movie came out 3 months after the PlayStation 3 Final Fantasy VII tech demo. So this movie helped spark the revolution for the players who wanted a Final Fantasy VII game, along with that tech demo. So you have to understand what a big deal that movie was, not just as a sequel to a game the world loved, but the movie came out 3 months after the tech demo, so you're like, so we playing Final Fantasy or what?
Hey, what are you guys doing? You bringing out that game? We kind of want to play it, you schmucks.
Exactly, and we've been holding on to it ever since. So Advent Children has a huge mark on gamer history, but it's also a great movie by itself. They actually brought that movie straight to DVD back in the day, not to theaters.
You know what's funny is I got the Japanese copy that had subtitles from a store in an anime video store in SeaTac Mall.
I remember you getting that.
And I had that. That was months. That was months before it released in America. And it had...
I think you and I watched that together.
Yeah, it had not Crisis Core. It was an actual anime cartoon video of what happened when Sephiroth snapped and went to Genova.
Oh,
and when Zack confronted him. It was in the time when Zack confronted him.
Yep.
And then when Cloud gets stabbed and like goes Hulk mode on Seth.
Yep.
Yeah.
That was amazing.
That was a cool episode thing.
It was awesome. It was awesome. So that Advent Children, dude, Square Pictures like disappeared and didn't exist after The Spirits Within was released. It lost money because it spent so much and didn't make any of it back. And then, dude, like no more than 4 years later, they come out with Advent Children, send it straight to DVD, and their sales are through the roof. And they're like, huh, we might have something here. That's kind of my interpretation of it all.
Or, we didn't fuck up this time.
I know. And it had your sword fighting, which you were mentioning that Final Fantasy needs. So, that's...
I think maybe not so much the sword thing, but like melee fighting of some kind with a sense of magic to it.
Fair enough. But this had that.
Like Bouncer. Like even Bouncer. Bouncer, made by Square, old PS2 game. It's all about combat, fist fighting. Totally not a normal Square thing, but there was still a form of magic to it that made it seem, like, I don't know. It was still Square, and it's like Sora grew up.
Okay.
And became a boxer. I don't know. It's not a Final Fantasy game, but it's still in the line. Square just needs to have that feeling of magic to it, I feel. And that's why Final Fantasy did not feel like that kind of movie.
It's part of Square's... If Square was a character, that's a character trait. And if Spirits Within didn't have that character trait, it's almost like Square lost its identity.
If Square was a class in one of its own games, it would be Vivi, the Black Mage.
Okay, but then you make Spirits Within and it doesn't appear to have a Black Mage in it. It's not Final Fantasy. Is that what you were trying to say?
Correct.
I think I understand what you're going for, and I respect that.
But you're still not going to take it.
Well, there's still stuff that means... Final Fantasy means things to different people because we've had to interpret the games on our own via text and then the voice acting and all that. We all interpret the games in our own ways. And when I saw Spirits Within when it came out back in the day in 2001, when we were in junior high... No, 11th grade. We were juniors in high school. I took something that I identified Final Fantasy with that is different from yours.
That was at the turn of the century, 2000, 2001, by the way, guys.
Yeah, we're old.
Not really.
But yeah, like I said, Final Fantasy means something differently to each person, and I took what I needed from that movie, and I enjoyed it for what it was.
Yes.
I have a couple more on my likes list. I'll get through them real quick.
Good lord. Oh, that's right. You like everything. I forgot. Silly me.
Ratchet and Clank.
I actually never saw that.
I saw it with Arcanian in the theaters. Ratchet and Clank is one of her favorite game series, and
I do know that.
Ratchet and Clank, it was unique. It was a reimagining of the original first game with some changed story elements for a movie setting, and they got the original voice actors back for Ratchet Clank, and they had some high-end actors in there too, like Sylvester Stallone, Paul Giamatti. But it's also interesting too because it came with a reimagining of the video game on PS4. So they basically redid the first game to tie it in with the movie. You basically play the game, the movie, in the Ratchet and Clank for PS4. But I watched Arcanian play the whole thing from start to finish, and it takes the best parts of the original game and creates something, a unique experience out of it. And I thought the movie by itself was just a fun animated kids movie, and I liked it a lot. It didn't do very well, and it got low ratings, but if you want a fun animated kids movie, Ratchet and Clank is perfect for that.
Final game.
I've got two. Okay, here's a quick one. Prince of Persia, 2010. Did you see it?
I heard that was crap, but I don't know.
It was a Jerry Bruckheimer production, the same guy who did Pirates of the Caribbean movies. I thought it was really good. There was a controversy about Jake Gyllenhaal, whitewashing a role of somebody who belongs in the Middle East, and I don't want to get into controversy, but as a movie in general, I thought it was faithful to the series, and just a fun action family film kind of a thing.
Is that sort of like what happened with Ghost in the Shell? Because I never went and saw Ghost in the Shell either.
Similar, yeah, but Ghost in the Shell, there was a lot more hands raised in the air for Scarlett Johansson to be cast in that lead versus Jake Gyllenhaal in the lead of Prince of Persia. But in general, it's just a popcorn blockbuster. It's a fun movie, and it's listed in a lot of publications as a very good video game movie adaptation. So if you're ever bored and you want to watch it, I highly recommend it. And my last movie that I absolutely love that is going to make a lot of people cringe beyond belief, except for maybe one.
Here, let me pre-cringe. Okay, I'm good.
I'm sorry, but I love the Super Mario Brothers movie from 1993.
That movie's so bad.
Okay, let me put it this way. I know it's a bad movie. I know how horrible it is.
It's so bad, it's good. It's so bad.
Look, I'm actually a fan, and there's a reason. Derp, you would understand this because of our age. It was a big deal to kids in 1993. We were 9 years old.
It honestly, I remember loving that movie as a kid, but when I look at it now, I realize how bad that movie is.
Now, I don't watch it and laugh because of nostalgia all of the time. That has part to do with it. Nostalgia is part of it. But no matter how bad of a movie it is, it's a product of its time. The same goes with Street Fighter that came out a year later in 94. It's a terrible movie, but it has its moments, and I enjoy it for the product of its time. If it wasn't for Super Mario Brothers, I would have never fallen in love with John Leguizamo and followed his career ever since.
Yeah, John Leguizamo was great, but honestly, the only reason I followed him was Pest. Like, that was the first movie I remember following him was on The Pest. And then I liked him, and then I realized he was in Super Mario Brothers, and I'm like, oh, yeah, I like him. He's cool. Yeah. And then I watched Romeo plus Juliet.
Yep.
And when he played Tybalt of Cats,
Yep.
Dude, honestly, okay, sorry. When it comes to Romeo and Juliet, that is the best rendition of it.
Oh, Romeo, oh, Romeo.
Not that it matters, but I do love that movie.
No, I do like that one too.
Plus, it's got your early high school counterpart, Leo. Your doppelganger from high school.
I love Leonardo DiCaprio. He's still my dude. All right, so those are all of my likes, and I made sure to be thorough on it. Thank you for letting me go through them. I only have 2 dislikes.
Oh God, you have more. I'm just kidding. Go.
All right. So here's my last 2. My last 2 are dislikes. Number 1, Silent Hill Revelations, 2012.
Good. I'm glad you realize that movie doesn't exist.
There's a reason why I dislike it, though. You know I love just about everything, and I always try to find the good in everything. But this one, it's hard. Other than the fact that, sure, Sean Bean is in it, and he actually didn't die in this movie either, but the film felt like a very
Spoilers.
Look, it felt like a fan film, a very low-budget fan film. It was very underwhelming story-wise, the whole thing was lackluster, and it didn't have the same quality as the first one.
That's where I'm torn on a movie like World of Warcraft. Or, not World, but Warcraft itself, the movie. I'm torn on that fact, because it's a good movie if you know the lore, but going into it, if you don't know the lore, it is a very mediocre movie.
That's good to know.
Because it is meant for the fans.
I haven't seen it.
It's actually really good overall. Like, the animation is incredible. It's really well done. There's a lot of money and effort put into it, but it is definitely a mediocre movie if you don't know the lore and have some sort of attachment to it. But it's a good watch regardless.
I don't know why I didn't see it, but I definitely want to. I do like Warcraft in general, but I don't know enough of the lore. And maybe I should just watch it and then ask questions when I'm done.
What you should do is just watch a lore video. Like, if you're bored one day, just listen to some video that describes the lore of Warcraft in general.
That's not a bad idea.
And honestly, the lore to Warcraft is fucking amazing.
Okay. I might have to take you up on that. That actually sounds pretty awesome.
Because I know you like listening to podcasts now. Like, I'm sure you could find just a YouTube video that just goes through the whole lore and talks about it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. All right. My last movie that I dislike.
I have no idea what his likes and dislikes were, guys. I never do. When I come up with something and I guess it, it is actually on the spot and I just get it right. But in this case, I have no clue.
Well, I gotta keep you on your toes sometimes. If you know all of my secrets, Derp, then why am I even here?
Because you're the one that truly loves me.
Well.
And you know you want me.
Yeah. That's true. I can't argue with that.
I'll tell Gertrude.
She knows. You don't gotta tell her shit.
It's gonna be like in Scrubs. It's like, hey, this is the man I'm always gonna have to compete with his love for.
That's good. I like that. All right. My dislike, Mortal Kombat Annihilation 1997.
The second one where Raiden gets his bro due.
I'm so glad you brought that up, Derp, because I actually have a thing on that one, too. Now, I tried liking it, and it has its moments, but ultimately, poor production quality, just like Silent Hill Revelations.
And they were just going out for the buck.
It was. It was literally just for the money. It was low budget. They didn't put a lot of money into it. You can totally tell by the quality.
But let's be real. The first Mortal Kombat movie was very low budget, too, but it was well done.
It actually was. It was a different director for the second one, too, and within the first 5 minutes of Annihilation, they kill off, like, a bunch of main characters.
Spoiler!
Some of the characters were even recast. I mean, the continuity was not a thing in the 90s. Christopher Lambert was replaced as Raiden with actor James Remar. He's a great actor. He's a great actor.
I think the reason was because they were going to be doing a lot more action scenes, and let's be real, Christopher Lambert can't do those kind of moves.
Dude, he can't. It's not Highlander. That was the 80s. This is the late 90s. It's not the same.
Now that you mentioned, though, you know who Christopher Lambert reminds me of in Mortal Kombat if he didn't have, like, the Raiden outfit?
Who?
Toss him in Geralt's outfit.
Yeah, actually. He could have pulled that off in the 90s. Absolutely. But no, Raiden... I think I lost interest in this movie with Raiden's entrance. Do you remember what it was? I might have to send you a link. You remember the hair part.
I remember when he gets the new bro do. I don't remember how he comes in the new movie, though.
Okay, just imagine this. Basically, terrible sound effects, but he's spinning in the air, and all of a sudden he magically fades in the air. You see a guy spinning, lands on his feet, and then he pops right back up, and then here we have this young, suave-looking guy who was not Christopher Lambert. Completely different look than what you're going for from the first movie. Liu Kang asks, Raiden? And then his response was, his hand goes over his head and brushes it over again. So he goes, hey, it's a new look. And it was stupid. I didn't like it.
I do remember that.
It was stupid. He's just like, hey, it's a new look. And I'm like, who the fuck is this guy? That was the moment where I realized I don't think I could take this movie seriously. I don't like it. And it was hard to finish. And I don't think I could ever watch it again.
Oh, you're so right. Oh my god, I
Uh,
forgot that. I forgot about that entrance though.
oh, it was bad. It was so bad. But when it comes to video games that turn into movies, that is my like and dislikes.
Okay.
Thank you for coming on this journey with me.
Yeah, it was wondrous. And that was only the first topic. And now we have the peanut gallery discussions. What people thought what their likes and dislikes were. And first of all, what did 8-Bit think with his games turned into movies? He liked Silent Hill and Advent Children,
Yeah, awesome.
which he was on the same page as us, and then disliked Spirits Within. So he was on my train, not yours.
I know I'm in the minority. I don't expect anybody to be on my train. That's okay. That's okay.
And next,
RJW 2016 likes Final Fantasy Spirits Within. Story was lukewarm 7 out of 10. That's not bad.
but it's also not great.
Right, I know it's not, but ultimately likes Final Fantasy VII Advent Children. Quote, might be the best piece of animation I've ever witnessed, especially the Blu-ray cut. Yeah.
I haven't seen the Blu-ray cut, but I do agree with him overall that Advent Children is probably one of the better animated pieces.
Derp, I have the Blu-ray cut, and it is gorgeous. If you ever can find it, I highly recommend you get it.
Okay, then we got Slade. Just put his input that he likes the action RE movies, so he likes the Resident Evil movies as well, which,
Yeah!
like I said, I do too. I just have my issues with some of the things, but
Dude,
they are
if
good
you
movies.
if you want, Derp, we can break apart every single movie one of these days and dissect it, because I can nitpick too.
Problem is I'd have to go and rewatch like half of them because I barely remember all of them. I've seen all of them.
Wait. Picture it now. Stay with me here. Picture it now. Paradigm Gaming, Resident Evil Marathon, special Cogcast with Derp and Blue.
Oh god, that would be.
We could have an extra special Cogcast just to dissect all of the Resident Evil movies.
Good god, that would take forever. But I'm down.
All right,
Let's
good.
do this.
We'll
This is a
discuss
future. This is a future. Let us know in the channel that we make, and you'll see that channel already by the time this comes out.
What were we
episode
gonna call
discussion.
it again? Episode discussion. Got it.
Okay.
Got it.
And let us know what you think.
Awesome. I like it. And then also, Indigo Rogue dislikes Mortal Kombat. Quote unquote, watched the first one twice now, and it's just more hilarious and boring. The only good part is the main theme. I love that theme song. It's so good, man. It's so good.
Fight.
All right, now we turn to our next topic, movies turned into games.
Likes and dislikes.
Derp, I would like you to go first on this one.
When it comes to movies and the games, it's really hard to think of what they've done, and then when you actually go into it, you're like, man, there's no like single movies that you can think of, but it's more series that you can think of that have been turned into games that are popular.
I think that still counts.
Yeah, it still counts, but so obviously Lord of the Rings is one.
Oh, that's
Lord
a
of the
huge
Rings,
one. That's a huge
Lord
one.
of the Rings has become huge in the gaming market, mainly with the Mordor games. Shadows of Mordor,
Middle-earth, Shadows of Mordor, and Middle-earth, Shadow of War.
Shadow of War, okay. So it was still Shadow, just it changes the thing. Yeah, I haven't played the second one. I can't remember what it was. So anyways, yeah, Lord of the Rings has been huge. I mean, they've done the Fellowship of the Ring games back on the Xbox. There's a Lord of the Rings MMORPG. There's, I mean, all of the Lord of the Rings games that have come after. There's a MOBA, or there was a MOBA, like a League of Legends style Lord of the Rings game at one point.
Oh, yeah.
So aside from that, then you got franchises like Star Wars.
Yeah.
I mean, Star Wars is freaking huge.
It is ginormous.
Huge.
Ridiculously
it's got
huge.
so many games.
So many great games, so many horrible games.
You know what the best game turned into movie, turned into game was?
What's that?
Actually, it doesn't work that way, but the best game movie there is Fallen Order.
Yeah. I haven't finished it yet. I am super far into it, and what I've played so far makes my jaw drop to the floor.
That is the best Star Wars since before Episode 1.
Really?
I honestly rate it that high.
That's impressive. That is awesome. So is that your like?
It's one of my top ones, yeah. The Fallen Order is amazing, but just in general, the Star Wars franchise, I do love the Star Wars franchise. They do really well in most of the games, especially when LucasArts was in control. But now that Respawn's taken it, in that new direction with the whole Dark Souls-ish theme. They did
Yeah.
really well.
The combat's challenging, but it makes you feel like you accomplished something when you finally defeat all the bosses.
Now, here's a one that people forget about, and it was on the original Xbox. Enter the Matrix. Now, the games...
that was a tie-in to Matrix Reloaded and Matrix Revolutions.
I think it was a tie-in to Reloaded, though. Like, after the first movie, before the second one? Or was it before the third one? I can't remember. But that game was fun, but it was crappy controls. The controls sucked in that game so bad. But the humor in it was funny. It was a Matrix game, like a movie. It was really cool. It was a neat canon side story. I don't know. It was a cool game, and I would love... Actually, we'll get to that in the next thing, because yeah, the next topic will handle that. But honestly, I did like the Enter the Matrix.
I have vague memories of you playing that on the original Xbox, and I don't remember playing it myself, but I remember watching you play it, and I did like it was before Marvel and having the same type of stories on different mediums, comic books, movies, videos, kind of thing. They were trying to blaze their own trail with the Matrix series, and to go from a game that the story connects with the movies, I thought was unique and really, really cool.
And then, if you remember, they came out with Animatrix 2.
Oh, you know what? I actually think that Enter the Matrix ties in with the Animatrix, the Flight of the Osiris, because
the Flight of the Osiris is also done by the people who did Spirits Within, I'm pretty sure. The same devs, the same developers.
I actually believe you're correct on that one, but I do remember one of the missions in Enter the Matrix was to retrieve a package that one of the characters in Flight of the Osiris had to leave in the Matrix before their ship got taken over by the mechs.
Like, there was a lot of interesting tie-ins, and honestly, the gameplay was fun. But yeah, the controls did suck for what they were going for, but it was still fun.
Yeah, it was a product of its time. You said original Xbox.
Yeah,
that is cool,
original.
Original OG.
It was the original, wasn't it? Or was it 360?
No, it was original. I have it. It's on the shelf. Actually, I think it's your copy.
Probably.
Because I took... did I buy your Xbox and games, or did you just give them to me?
I don't remember. I don't care. I'm pretty sure I gave them to you.
Yeah, like the chunk of my Xbox collection I know I got from you. And I have it sitting on my shelf.
You hear this, guys? He stole my games from me.
He gave them to me because he loves me.
Yep, pretty much. Remember that when your wife leaves you.
Whoa!
I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
Whoa. This guy.
Kidding.
Hey, Derp. Green for the virus, blue for the antivirus.
Fuck off. Now Blue's trying to trigger me.
Yep, and I have the vials right here to prove it to you. Oh, yeah. All right, was that all your likes, dislikes?
When it came to dislikes, I honestly couldn't think of any.
Really? Okay, so when it comes to movies turning into video games, nothing just made you go, ew.
I mean, Enter the Matrix wasn't great, but I liked the idea behind all of it, and the story was kind of fun.
Okay, I mean, that's the other thing, too, is you don't have to be black and white about it. You don't have to say you have to like it or dislike it. If you're allowed to like some of it.
Yeah, I know. I don't, like, straight off the top of my head, I can't think of a game from a movie that, just off the top of my head, I can't think of anything.
All right, that's okay. That's okay. I have one of each. I don't have a long list like I did the last one.
Okay.
I have a like and a dislike, and they are both connected.
And?
All right. I like Star Wars The Force Unleashed. It came out in 2008. I dislike Star Wars The Force Unleashed 2. It came out in 2010.
Really?
Would you like to hear my story?
Do we have a choice? I'm just kidding. Go.
All right. Force Unleashed. This was before Disney bought Lucasfilm and branded everything prior to Legends, okay?
Gotcha.
Even at one point, George Lucas did say that he considers The Force Unleashed 1 to be canon because it works so well with his original narrative. Lucasfilm created a unique story that was set between episodes 3 and 4. Darth Vader was sent to kill a Jedi on planet Kashyyyk. He takes his son and trains him to be a sacred apprentice. And he uses them to help him overthrow the Emperor. So it really paints a picture of the Sith always trying to, like, one-up each other and backstab each other, who's going to have the power. It was fascinating. The gameplay was actually really fun. You got to do some cool Force powers you've never seen before. That's why they call it The Force Unleashed. But it also sets up the Rebel Alliance before they retcon the whole Legend and turn Star Wars into the whole Legends thing. They did that way before Rogue One. You run into Princess Leia. You have to rescue her. You run into her father, Senator Organa. Jimmy Smits reprises his role, his voice. He lends his voice for Senator Organa, and you help set up the Rebel Alliance. But it turns out the Rebel Alliance was really being created by Darth Vader in the background because he sends his apprentice to get involved with the people in the Rebels so he can learn the identity of who the Rebels were so he can exploit them and destroy them. I loved that. That was a brilliant story mechanic. You even explore and fight on a partially constructed Death Star 1. Death Star 1 wasn't finished. We're still in, like, after Episode 3 territory.
Yeah.
And here you are in the middle exploring this Death Star as it's being built. You go down the laser cannon while they're test firing it. It was so fucking cool. You learned some cool powers. It had some cool ties in. It felt like a true Star Wars movie experience. And the gameplay, while it was repetitive with some of the places you did have to return to, even when you go back the second time, it wasn't exactly the same. There was new elements and new locations, but it was like one of the coolest Star Wars games I've ever played up to that point before they created Jedi Fallen Order.
Yeah. Fallen Order is just so good.
It really is. I can't wait to finish it. I'm far, but I'm stuck.
I've seen the ending, so I know it's coming, but you need to finish it because you will shit your pants.
All right, well, as soon as Final Fantasy VII stops my attention, then I might do that.
Good luck with that.
Well, thank you. Thank you. My dislike Star Wars The Force Unleashed 2. You remember last week, Derp, when I got mad for Silent Hill Collection on HD?
Yeah. You want to do that again, buddy? You want to talk about how his apprentice becomes also overpowerful?
No, this has nothing to do with the story and his powers. No, this is even worse than that.
Oh, really? Okay, go.
Okay, the story has fun moments, but the overall game was extremely short. Now, that is actually a minor issue of mine, the shortness of it. It is an issue, but it's not the biggest issue. So, more of the lines of my issues fall in line with the marketing of this game. You remember the trailers for this game?
I don't.
All right, I might have to send you links because they are absolutely gorgeous. They had some of the most amazing trailers for this game. The world premiere trailer, the official release trailer, the TV spots, they were beautiful. Some of the best CG, movie quality CG, were used to showcase elements of this game. Dude, it was so good. They could be their own movies. They could have made a movie out of this game based off of these trailers. But the actual game itself was a much different product than what was advertised. Here's how I broke it down, all right? Trailer 1 shows Darth Vader and his apprentice, Starkiller, says he doesn't have any use for him anymore, orders his stormtroopers to eliminate him.
You have served your purpose well, my apprentice. But I have no further use for you. Kill him.
All right, cool. His apprentice goes on a lightsaber slaughter, escapes, sets the tone for the game, sets the mood. CG quality gorgeous. Trailer 2. It shows him, Starkiller, shows him walking down a corridor. You hear voices through his head, but you think he's listening through the Force. You hear Yoda.
Death is a natural part of life.
You hear Darth Vader.
Foolishly, you hold to hope for the life you once had.
Let go of everything you fear to lose. You must.
You think you have a purpose, a destiny.
Uncertain and fearful you are.
You are but a shadow of your former self.
Confused you have become.
Weak and misguided.
Hide not from yourself.
Accept the certainty
Confront your fear.
that all is lost.
Will I ever see you again?
You hear his long-lost love, Juno Eclipse. And then he winds up in a giant arena where it builds up this tension. And a giant giant, ginormous Rancor, like a billion times bigger than any Rancor we've ever seen, walks out. And then Starkiller just starts running towards the face. It flies in the air with his lightsaber. It was fucking awesome. Cool. Another trailer to set the mood. Here's where it starts to go downhill. They have 2 TV spots, all right? One TV spot, Darth Vader's in the snow. Starkiller is in a snowy forest screaming, "Where is she?"
Where is she?
Obey me, or she dies, apprentice.
Starkiller uses his force bubble, annihilates all the stormtroopers in the trees, shows off how cool his force powers are, and then he says, "Never," and pulls out his lightsabers. And then the trailer ends with Starkiller on the left, Darth Vader on the right. They both have their lightsabers out. Title pops up, and then that's the end of the TV spot. It was like 30 seconds long. That scene is not in the game. At all. That location that they're in is not in the game at all. You do not fight Darth Vader in a snowy forest. That is false advertising. Last TV trailer. This one's one of my favorites. All right? Black screen zooms out. You see Darth Vader's helmet. But then you see he's flying backwards into wall after wall after wall. And then in the background, you see you think you're an Imperial base. It kind of looks like a Star Destroyer or something. But when Vader finally hits that final wall, he falls down, he gets back up, and then he looks at all the walls that he's just been force thrown through. And then you see Starkiller, and he pulls out his lightsabers, and then the title pops up. It was badass. Problem? It's not in the game. That location, what happened in that scene, it's not in the fucking game. False advertising.
So what we're saying is here, Blue doesn't like being lied to.
Yeah.
Don't false advertise and Blue won't come for you.
By the time I finished the game, I've never felt so disappointed playing a game in my life. The game was extremely short, but all the things that got me hyped about this game were not in the game. The actual gameplay fighting with the Rancor, it took place during the daytime with lots of lights. The world premiere trailer of the game, it was dark outside, it was not daytime, and the only thing illuminating the arena was the neon lights in the stands and Starkiller's lightsaber. They projected this dark and gloomy area, and you have to fight your way through the darkness, but the actual gameplay, it's nothing like that. So that I didn't like either. Boba Fett made an appearance in the game. Darth Vader sends him out to find Juno Eclipse before Starkiller could. And it was awesome, because Darth Vader wanted to use her against his apprentice to do his bidding. Sets up for an awesome thing. It makes you think like, dude, I got a dual Boba Fett. But by the time you find Boba Fett, he's got Juno and he runs away and that's it. You don't fight him at all. And you don't see him ever again in the game. But you do fight him in the DLC of a what if the dark side won scenario, but it doesn't count because it never happened and it wasn't in the game. So I got all the hype and no payoff. And the same thing goes for when you go to Dagobah. You get to meet Yoda. Briefly. The planet isn't even a level you can explore. You just land, you show up, you run into Yoda, and then there's a CG cutscene where you run into that same magical tree where Darth Vader has to fight Darth Vader, but it turns out to be himself. But it's just a CG cutscene, and then you leave. You don't even get to fight anybody in the tree. There was nothing in there. I had all the hype and no payoff. This game sucks.
So what you're saying is the Force Unleashed became like going to a strip club with a bunch of your buddies. They all buy you a bunch of lap dances and you get to go home to a trailer alone.
Yeah, that pretty much sums up my experience with Force Unleashed, yeah.
So all the blue balls with no payoff.
This game had so much potential. It was nothing like the first game. It was the most beautiful looking game I've ever seen. Seriously, the CG cutscene and the trailers were gorgeous. The game itself was beautiful. But dude, false advertising. What you showed me was not in the game. And when the game finished, dude, you guys had great ideas, but it was poorly executed. This would have been better if it was a limited run TV series or an hour-and-a-half CG movie. I wish it was, but I've never felt so disappointed in a Star Wars game. That is the game I dislike. movie to game adaptation.
Beautiful.
Thank you for listening to my story. How about our friends on the interwebs? What movies turned into games did you guys like or dislike? Derp?
Well, apparently, good old RJ, he only had a dislike, and he went Aragon.
The Dragon Book?
They murdered the film and downright flogged the life out of the game. If you want sadness, play that game.
I remember the hype of that book, Aragon, and then the movie came out, and it was horrible. I didn't realize they made a video game based off
Oh,
of it.
yeah, they made a video game of it, and apparently it's even worse.
8-Bit Warrior likes
I'm
Lego.
curious about this one.
What?
Was it a TV series or a movie before?
What, Aragon?
For 8-bits?
Oh, what are you talking about? It just says Lego Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, but was that a movie?
Lord of the Rings was.
Well, I'm talking Lego.
Well, the Lego series takes movies and makes them into Lego, so it still counts.
Okay, I'll accept that.
Dude, Lego does a lot of movie adaptations and turns them into Lego video games.
Yeah, that's true.
I have Lego Indiana Jones 1 for PSP. It's kind of fun.
Kind of fun.
Yeah, so 8-Bit said Lego Lord of the Rings.
And your lovely wife, Gertrude.
Arcanian 17.
Gertrude.
You know, on a side note, a lot of people actually thought that was her real name. We had a malfunction on my stream today, and it landed on the PS4 menu, and everyone's like, who's Katie? Because you see her profile and mine. And I'm like, that's my wife. And she goes, oh, I thought her name really was Gertrude. And she chimes in and goes, that's Derp's fault.
Yep, it's Gertrude, guys. I don't know what you're talking about. Katie doesn't exist. There is only Gertrude.
There
is no Katie, only Gertrude.
I was just thinking the same thing. I love it.
But anyways.
Arcanian 17.
She likes the South Park games Stick of Truth and The Fractured But Whole. The South Park games takes the kids and puts them into new storylines.
Those games are fun.
Those games are hilariously fun.
Those games are fun. I know it's a TV show, but it still counts in my book. It's an adaptation. And Trey Parker and Matt Stone had heavy involvement in those games. That's why they worked.
They did all the voices.
That is exactly why they worked.
They wrote them and did all the stuff for them. I mean, they pretty much made the game. They just had the backup of like programmers and everything to make what their ideas were. Because even they had to decide where everything was in the city because they've never done that.
Yeah.
And they say that in the interview, like, yeah, we never had to actually design how the city looked. We just, cut the scene and then they went to the next place. We never actually had to figure out how the city was set up.
Walking through those cities in real time was really cool to witness. It's like, oh my god, it's right there next to this, and I didn't know that.
Which if you watch the interview on it, you're like, oh, they didn't actually know. They just made it up.
That's even better.
So, next.
Don Defrag likes, the Lord of the Rings. He says those games were fun, and they made a variety of Lord of the Rings games, so you can't go wrong.
The majority
either way.
of them were pretty fun.
Yeah.
The mobile one doesn't exist anymore, and I can see why. That one was meh.
Okay. He also said Star Wars Revenge of the Sith, saying, kind of flies under a lot of radars, but fun to play through the movie. And I think that's awesome. We also have one more.
From our good old country swamp-dwelling R-Troll. He wanted to go super meta, and quote-unquote, Street Fighter the movie, the game. About to go super meta, but the Street Fighter game based on the movie.
Have you ever played that or seen it before, Derp?
No.
You need to go on YouTube when you're free to actually look it up, because it is atrocious is a word I want to use.
Well, it is a game based on a movie that was based off the game, which the movie based off the game was atrocious in itself, but hilarious.
I will admit, I personally have never played it, but I've seen footage of this game, and you're like, ha! Why'd they do that? Why? Why does this exist?
Because why not?
It's so good. It's so good.
Well, we're getting on to our last topic here, though.
Derp, what is our next topic?
What game would you like to see as a movie?
That's a good question, Derp. Would you like me to go first?
Maybe.
You want to go first?
Maybe.
I'm fine with that.
Apparently, I didn't write that down. I'll figure it out. You go first, and I'll figure it out.
All right. What game would you like to see as a movie? I have two things listed. One of them you might know exactly what it is, and one of them you might be surprised about.
Actually, I probably will be. But I figure you would want to see like a Metroid movie or something. What he's really saying is yes, Derp, that's what I want.
Okay, yes. Metroid, I would like to see as a movie. Now, did you know that it was in development at one point?
Really?
It was. Especially for those of you listening out there, if you don't know, there was once a serious plan to bring Metroid movie to the screen with John Woo directing.
Oh, that'd actually be interesting.
Yeah. No, he makes good flicks. He actually directed an Appleseed movie, which was really good. It was all CG. It was awesome. John Woo's a great director. He did Face Off. He did Mission Impossible 2. He's got a great library of movies that he's directed. But a former producer of the movie, the former producer of the Metroid movie, when it was quote-unquote in development, told IGN in 2012 that, quote, Nintendo was definitely discouraged by Super Mario Brothers, 1993.
Yeah.
But felt that with John Woo, it would be in better hands. The challenge for us was that it felt that the biggest lesson learned from Mario was to hold on to their rights even tighter, limiting collaboration when it came to translating Metroid to the big screen. Our entire development time was spent exploring the Metroid world and what we could and couldn't do with it. The biggest of these problems concerned Samus's backstory, which the producers would need to explore if they were making a movie about her. What were they doing when they're not fighting? What was their daily existence and relationships? What are Samus's aspiration, history, and fears? Apparently, Nintendo appreciated these questions, but had never thought of them before, and ultimately didn't have a lot of answers. In the end, they felt uncomfortable with our team being the ones to propose those answers. So the production was eventually shut down. Nintendo didn't want it to proceed, and it's been on the back burner ever since. I think it was officially announced in 2004 that it was gonna be in production, directed by John Woo, but this was 2012 when IGN interviewed a former producer on the series. But if Nintendo actually did, put the scrap on and just said, no, we're not doing a Metroid movie, well, if they wanted to answer those questions, like, about Samus's backstory, well, they went ahead and made Metroid Other M in 2010, and we all know how that turned out. It turned into one of the greatest Metroid games ever made! Yeah!
Well done, sir.
Well, I am kidding. I know a lot of people don't like Metroid Other M. I do enjoy it for a lot of reasons. A lot of you don't, and I respect that. I'm just going to leave it at that. We streamed it, I had fun with it, and I'm glad it exists. Because Nintendo learned a lot from that experience to make better experiences in the future, which I hope will be in the form of Metroid Prime 4, and I hope we see something in the future. But Nintendo, if you're gonna make a movie, do Metroid. You have so much rich history and possibilities with a game like that. It's already a cinematic experience on your consoles. I can see that being a movie on the screen. The first commercial for Metroid Prime 1 was a live-action commercial, and it looked awesome. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, look up Metroid Prime 1 commercial, and you'll see it. It has potential. There's even a fan film that stars one of the anchorheads from The Nerdist, who plays Samus Aran in a Metroid fan film that was actually pretty well done. It was very realistic, and I liked it. It has potential. So Metroid, please become a thing in the future.
Well said.
Yeah. All right. You want to know? You want to know what my last one is?
What's that?
Oddworld.
I could see that.
I actually really thought about this one. That universe is versatile. It's vast. It's abundant with some really strange and weird stuff.
It is.
I think that universe and his characters could work very well in either a movie form or a TV form, because
it could be a very dark animated film.
It could be anything, because every game is different from each other. When I played Stranger's Wrath, blown away. Oh my god. It could be anything. I think Oddworld would make a great movie.
That's one I never thought of, honestly.
Yeah, I was actually quite surprised when I thought of it. I'm like, dude, I would like to see an Oddworld adaptation. What about you?
I'm gonna go back and let's go on to the fact that let's get a good Final Fantasy movie.
Wait. Okay, when you say good Final Fantasy movie, Are we discounting Advent Children and Kingsglaive?
No,
Final
I
Fantasy
mean like a
15?
new story. Final Fantasy VII is Advent Children is an already established universe. I'm talking something
Original?
along the lines that's original, but a Final Fantasy and a movie, like what we were expecting out of something, like Spirits Within, which isn't a Final Fantasy movie.
Spirits Within 2? Redo?
No. My statement still stands. I would love to see like a Square Enix movie, honestly, from any of their franchises.
Dude, I just thought about it. I didn't put Final Fantasy 15 Kingsglaive on my list.
And that was an amazing movie.
We need to start this Cogcast all over from the very beginning.
Yeah, we don't.
I got to include that. That was an
Well,
amazing
then you're including
game.
it now. Good for
All right.
you.
The hype that was built up for Final Fantasy 15 was that movie and the anime shorts they had on YouTube.
Yeah, it was pretty good. You know what was awesome? It was the Alan Wake universe, too.
You remember those live action shorts they did to build up the hype for that
Yeah.
game on the 360?
What was it? What was it called?
What was that town called? Night Falls?
It's called Bright Falls.
Bright Falls, not Night Falls. I was close.
Yeah, but that was amazing. Honestly, I'd love to see a movie of the game. That one. That would actually be cool.
Honestly, I'd love a true sequel to Alan Wake.
Yeah. Get on it, Remedy.
Yeah, do it.
Remedy that situation.
What about our listeners out there, Derp?
8-Bit apparently wants another re-release of Skyrim.
Skyrim released for the billionth time, but in a movie form?
Shot in first person, so like Action Henry or Action... What was that movie called? It was a first person movie shot from... Yeah, or Hardcore Henry.
Hardcore Henry. Yeah, I remember that movie.
It was all in first person.
So we want that, but in Skyrim.
Apparently.
All right.
That's what 8-Bit wants. And then Crash Bandicoot.
Crash Bandicoot. Live action, even. So like what they did with Sonic the Hedgehog?
That would actually be funny. The orange Sonic.
The orange Sonic.
And someone knows who I'm talking about on the listeners there.
Orange Sonic.
And fucking Choco.
That's awesome. Give Me Nuggets said, a game to movie adaptation I like to see is about Spyro. And whether they go with the original game or the Legend of Spyro route, I actually don't mind both. Based off of my experience with movie games like Ratchet and Clank, I think Spyro would be a great movie. And now that I think about it...
That's one of Gertrude's other favorite games.
Sony was about to release Sly Cooper as a movie. There's a trailer out for it. But that was years ago. And that movie was never released.
Oh, yeah, that too. I forgot about that.
You are right, though. She's actually playing the third game on the remaster right now.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, Spyro would be really cool. Who else we got?
RJ says Dino Crisis film. Or maybe Medieval.
Ooh.
Which I don't know if you ever played Medieval. Medieval was that skeleton medieval knight who was dead and then... Yeah.
I haven't played it personally, but I know they even remade or remastered that for the PS4 recently, too.
But I'd be okay with the Dino Crisis film, too. That'd be fun.
Dude.
Oh, wait. They've done it. Jurassic Park.
Well, no. We need to combine Jurassic Park with the Resident Evil movies, and now you have Dino Crisis.
True.
But I'd like to see that. Can you imagine? Dude, we'd recast Mia Jovovich with her red hair, just like in The Fifth Element. She could be Regina.
There you go. Multipass.
Archroll says, I would love to see Digimon get the Detective Pikachu treatment, honestly. The games, with a few exceptions, are really well done, and outside of the game is the superior product. Don Defrag chimed in and agreed with R about Digimon getting the Detective Pikachu treatment.
Yeah, I never really watched Digimon. I never got into it personally, so I don't have the same thoughts that they do. But I've heard a lot of good things.
I've seen a few episodes back in the Pokemon days, and I ended up watching more Pokemon than Digimon. But I know it has a huge fan base, and that's cool.
Yeah.
Can I also just say, Derp, that the conversations we had with everybody on these topics... Dude, guys, these were extremely fun to read. Thank you. Thank you, everybody who participated in this week's topics. we're glad to see that you guys are having a lot of fun with this. And yeah, you guys are amazing. Thank you so much for participating and just submitting all of your thoughts and ideas. Derp, did you see? We had banter going back between quite a few of our Discord followers, just coming up with so many random ideas. The conversation transpired from like Crash Team Racing, and it like spiraled into some weird territory from there. And I was dying laughing the whole time.
Yeah,
it was
no,
awesome.
it was pretty good.
It was awesome.
I have to agree. You guys were awesome.
You guys are
and thank you
great.
very much. It was a good laugh.
If you guys listening want to participate in next week's Cogcast, just follow our Discord. If you're not already a part of the Discord, go to paradigmgaming.live/social, and you can find the link there to be able to join it.
Again, that's paradigmgaming.live/social.
I also overhauled the website, Derp. Have you checked it out lately?
I haven't been able to check it out today, but I know you've been doing a lot of work on it, and what you were doing before I have looked at it today was awesome. And you guys need to look at it. It's a great one-stop shop for all of the Paradigm Gaming stuff as well.
I'm having a lot of fun with it. Ever since we started this Cogcast and we said, hey, check out our website, I went back to revisit. I'm like, I have ideas how to make this better. Because I wanted to include a Cogcast page, which there is one. And then I ended up taking the ideas from how I designed the Cogcast font, how we'd have it set up on Anchor.fm and Spotify and iTunes. I'm like, what if I tried to match that and make that same look for the other pages? And then I kind of spiraled out of control, and I just kept designing and kept creating stuff. And
it's super clean.
I need to touch up on a couple of other pages, but I'm pretty proud of how it turned out. I'm glad you like it.
No, it's very clean.
The about section's fun. I changed our pictures and then I added a gallery and more descriptions. It's cool.
Oh no.
Yes, I added more pictures of you, Derp.
No. Oh
Lots
no,
of
there's
more
my
pictures.
Ganon cosplay. Why does it fit so well?
I don't know. You just got that. You got that build, man. You got that face of evil, and it belonged there.
Why?
Why not?
It was beautiful though. I love it.
Embrace the darkness, Derp. Embrace it.
Give me my Triforce of Strength, bitch. It is the Strength Triforce, right?
He has power. Link has
Or
courage.
power.
And
Triforce of Power.
Zelda has wisdom.
Yeah.
Yeah. I get the Master Sword. You get nothing and like it.
I get awesome magics. And sometimes win and send it into alternate realities.
You get the Wand of Gamelon.
I'll cast Magic Missile.
Oh, God. Well,
Could you imagine him saying that every time he shoots one of those balls? Magic Missile! Magic Missile!
Well, you should probably roll the dice, Derp. See if you're getting drunk.
I'm working on it. Working on it.
Final thoughts. Final thoughts. What are my final thoughts?
I don't know. I don't even know mine. I'm hoping you had something so I could just bounce off of you and be like, yeah, I totally think that. Yeah, it's good.
You know what? I do have something. I did say this in my stream earlier, but I still think it resonates right now. This past week and a half, I've been feeling kind of down, weighing a little heavy. I haven't been seeing a lot of you guys in Discord, or I haven't been in Twitch channels. I haven't been streaming. I've been working so much, and I just felt I just haven't been feeling great. But I've been trying to turn that around, and I streamed today, and I had a great time. A lot of you hung out with me, had a lot of great conversations. I laughed a lot, and it is exactly what I needed. I needed to pick me up. Derp, I didn't know how much I needed this recording session with you until we clicked record and jumped on it. I needed to pick me up. So to you and everybody who hung out with me today, and anybody who's listening to this podcast from the beginning or just starting now, just thank you for being here. I really appreciated it. It's just what I needed. Thank you. That's my final thoughts.
We've loved you, Blue. Always have.
I'm giving her all I got, Captain.
I mean, I'm sort of in the same position. I've been out and I've taken up a new little hobby on the side that I can actually do while I'm at work or on lunch. Something I can do and write stuff down. But I do wait every week for these sessions and the next one and next one and the next one. And who knows, maybe one of these days we'll do a second random shorter one.
You never know. Hey, as long as we have fun with this, I mean, it's just two nerds bantering back and forth and being geeky about it.
Pretty
so
much.
What's not to
Yep.
love, right?
If
What's
we
not
have the
to
extra
love?
time, maybe one of these days we'll throw up a second one in a week.
We need to do this Resident Evil marathon movie watching Cogcast session. That would be amazing.
That's if people want it. You guys have to say you want it. Put that in the episode discussion channel. That'll be going up tonight. Or right now. Right now. It's going in right now because guess what?
It's going in right now? Okay, it's going in right now, guys. It's going in right now. He's typing on his keyboard. He's doing the thing. Watch him go.
And boom. See, you guys just witnessed history in the making right there.
Yep. Congratulations. You're welcome, America.
You're welcome.
All right, guys. Thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in.
And thank you for being the beautiful cogs that you are. And just so you know, we'll always be here at what?
At a drop of a paradigm.
Exactly.